And flash and strap yourselves in. The Premier League season is less than 72 hours away. It doesn't seem like yesterday that we were there saying, oh, Liverpool, you've won the league, and obviously behind closed doors. And it's going to be behind closed doors again for the foreseeable future. We have newcomers. Leeds, I think they'll be okay. West Bromwich Albion and Fulham. Well, they're going to need a crowd behind them, and they're not going to get it. So listen, before we go over to Martin and Matt and get all the picks and all the chat, if you like this video, then please subscribe, press the button and ring the bell. Ring the bell means that we will notify you and you'll never miss any content again. And that's never been more essential, because obviously we're going into the NFL, which I'll speak a little bit about. Pick six, get yourself involved. And also the description. Press the link. And then you'll go over there and there's more writers. Tancredi's going to start writing. Obviously, he's a journalist, so that's a bonus. We've got Martin Green and we've got Alex and we've got Dave. And there's every single article from every single sport that we cover here on SBR. Now, listen, let's get this show right on the road, because it's the Premier League. It's the #1 league in the world. Man City and Liverpool fight at the top, but the fighting at the bottom, well, that could go on right the way up to the last day of the season in May. Martin Green and Matt Lawrence are with me. I'm going to start with you, Martin. Martin, 72 hours, and it's Arsenal who kick us off.
So exciting. Yeah, I can't wait to see Arsenal back in action. Have had a very strong end to the season, won the FA Cup, just about got the better of Liverpool in the penalty shootout to win the Community Shield. So I think they should carry a bit of momentum into the new season. And I think Fulham's the perfect opponent to start against. It's at Craven Cottage, but there'll be no fans. So hopefully Arsenal can start with 3 points and enjoy a very strong season.
That's the big thing, though, Matt, because we look at, I'm going to give you the odds on the game in a second. But first of all, when a team comes up, and I've been in one of these teams that comes up, you have the whole crowd anticipation from May right the way through to August. Normally the hottest day of the year, by the way, is the first game of the season. You run around in pre-season and it's all like rain. You get to the first game, it's like 400 degrees and you're absolutely sweltering. But when it's your first game and you're at home, the crowd are everything.
100%. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for those teams coming up, like the Fulhams and the West Broms. You know, just when there is no fans in the stands like this, it will be more difficult on them. And we don't know exactly when that's going to change. So we've got a good sample size, really, from the end of the, in that June, July area. And yeah, it's going to be very interesting. It's great to see Arsenal kick it off, and I can't wait to be here with you guys and just cap these games.
Remember, Fulham plus 100 to go down. I don't fancy they get any bigger than that right away from now until they go back to the Championship. Now, let's start off with Fulham at plus 500. Can't believe that. That should be about plus 10 or 1,000 for me. And a draw at plus 320. And Arsenal at minus 175. Go to the Arsenal fan. Martin, Arsenal, do they kick off with 3 points?
I really think they can. It would be hugely disappointing if they fail to get 3 points from this game. Obviously, like I just said, they won the FA Cup, so they should have confidence as they go into this. There's competition for places in the side now. Got two very good young centre-backs, or so I'm told. Willian, who had a bit more experience to the attack. And like I say, Fulham is a really comfortable opponent to start your season against. They should. Fulham were poor. Very, very poor in that playoff final against Brentford. They looked exhausted. It was a long old season. They haven't really added anyone of any note since then. Re-signed a couple of players that were on loan last season, but it's pretty much the same team that finished fourth in the Championship. Obviously, they had a shocker last time they were in the Premier League, lost a lot of the expensive signings that they made. And I think they're going to be a bit more cautious this time around about really investing heavily in the squad. So I really think they're going to struggle and very much think they could go down this season. Arsenal really have to win this game. So I don't think it's going to be a hugely high-scoring game. I'm just going with Arsenal to beat Fulham and under 4.5 goals, and I've got 1.95 on that.
1.95, that's minus 105, minus 105, Arsenal, and under 4.5 or Arsenal and the Martin Classic. Do you see Fulham scoring? I think all season long, Matt, that Fulham are going to struggle to score, and that is going to be the reason they're not going to get out the bottom three.
Yeah, I see them struggling to score. And when you really look at Arteta, what he's done under Arsenal, he's taken them from, just kind of a team that was chaotic at the back, and he's organized this defense to where a lot of under 2.5s have been coming with Arsenal, even though they have this fantastic attack. They've just been a lot better on the defensive side. Like you guys touched on, Fulham really haven't invested a whole lot. The window is not shut, as we know, but they definitely need to bring some fresh legs into the squad, I think, if they want to stay up here. And for me, I think that the best play is I like Arsenal and under 4.5, Arsenal -1. I think that those look pretty good. It's just a lean for me right now, but Scott Parker's got a lot of work to do this year with Fulham.
Yeah, he certainly has. Now, obviously, this year, what we'll do is, at the moment, while we're not got all the graphics and that coming up, I'm going to do a full screen graphic at the end. I've got all the boys' official picks, so I will put them on there. I will add, obviously, maybe a little bit of a parlay, and you'll have to keep your ears well and truly open. 75 of you are watching live now. There's only 19 thumbs up, so stick your thumbs up, lads. Come on, show a bit of appreciation. It's the first game. We want to be getting them well and truly into the hundreds as the season progresses. Palace +200, draw +225, and the mighty Saints at +150. Saints unbelievable record at Selhurst Park, first game of the season. Southampton are my surprise team for this year. I think Danny Ings is going to score plenty of goals. Matt, do you fancy this game?
I do fancy this game a lot. I think that these are two teams that are going in different directions right now. I think with Southampton, re-signing Hasenhüttl was a huge get right there for them. I think they extended him another 4 years. And, the club as a whole seemed to be a lot better off right now than where Palace are going. Roy Hodgson has a lot of work to do with this Palace side. They don't score a lot of goals. Just in terms of since that June restart, 16 goals in 9 matches for Southampton, only 5 goals, for Palace in those 9 matches. They collected only 4 points. It's been really poor for them. I really like Southampton here. Draw no bet. I found that earlier in the week, it was at 1.85 or -118. It started to come up now. It's at -140. I still like it at that price. And I just don't see Southampton getting beat. A team that can score goals. Ings was on fire, and just going up against a team that really struggled to score goals.
Martin, Southampton, I've been there with Southampton and got the job done. And listen, over the years, it's not far. It's just up the M3, a little bit around the M25. It's very close to where you are in England. But with Palace, they have got to get off to a good start. But Southampton with a form side in the lockdown period. So do you fancy the away side picking something up?
Yeah, I fancy the away side picking something up. They were terrific pretty much ever since they were thrashed by Leicester last season. They picked themselves up, dusted themselves off, and they were brilliant in the second half of the campaign. Danny Ings was playing on great stuff. They had a real sort of unity about them, and I like the high energy brand of football that Hasenhüttl has installed there. Much different story for Crystal Palace. They were horrific, as Matt just mentioned. They actually took 1 point from their final 8 games of the season, lost 7 in a row before drawing with Spurs on the last day. That is terrible. They just don't have the firepower up front. Ayew isn't prolific. Benteke isn't prolific. Zaha's desperate to force a move away from the club. No bids have been forthcoming yet, but yeah, there's not a great deal of dynamism going forwards for them. They have just signed the QPR playmaker, Eberechi Ez, who 8 goals and 14 assists last season. He was a very good player. But yeah, I don't know. I think they could very much be hovering above the relegation zone this time around, whereas Southampton, I fancy, could be challenging for a top half finish. Like you guys said, teams heading in different directions. So I'm going to go for Southampton draw no bet at 1.75, which is -133.
Yeah, and listen, so much money has gone on at Southampton not to get beat. You could go with Southampton. I'm leaving that game well alone, as you know. I'm definitely on Southampton side. I think it's the most hungry and energetic I've seen them probably since the Gordon Strachan days. And Gordon Strachan got them to maybe 7th or 8th in the Premier League, and they came runners up to Arsenal at the Millennium Stadium in the FA Cup. Remember, you're our 3rd guest in the chat, so make sure you keep any of your tips coming. I want to know what your banker is. I know Harry Doherty, he might just be turning up at some stage with some mad bet. Now, West Ham +120, desperate to get off to a good start. Draw +250, and a lot of people's surprise team this year will be Newcastle, and they're at +240. I see goals in this game, Martin.
Yeah, it's really interesting because they were really, really tight at the back, showed very little ambition for the majority of last season. And then suddenly, after the lockdown, they took the handbrake off and started actually trying to play some attractive football. Makes it difficult to know what you're going to get with Newcastle. Tough old summer for the Magpies fans. They thought they were being taken over by a Saudi consortium. They were going to get Pochettino as their manager. They were going to buy Philip Coutinho. They were going to soar up the table. Didn't happen. It fell through. They're stuck with Steve Bruce. They're scrabbling around for signings. But I think they have done pretty well. Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser were two of Bournemouth's best players for many years. I think that'll be a vast improvement on what they've got with Joe Linton. And Jeff Hendrick's a good midfielder as well. So I think they'll do okay this season. Some people are betting on them to be relegated, but I don't see it for me. No, I can see him finishing mid-table again. Steve Bruce has exceeded expectations so far, and I think they'll keep doing well. I'd say West Ham could be in trouble. They haven't really bought anyone of note yet. Still got a leaky defence. Yes, they finished last season strong, but you never really know with them. Both teams to score does always look like a good bet when West Ham are playing because they're very top heavy. But just because I don't know what I'm going to get from Newcastle yet, I'm going to wait for a couple of weeks before betting on them in terms of the goals market. So I'm passing this one.
Well, it's because I don't know what I'm going to get that I thought this was definitely an over 2.5. I was going to go the Alex Classic, and I just thought I can see this being 2-2, maybe 3-2, but it just in case Newcastle don't turn up, and it's like a 3-0. So, I mean, I'm happy to go with goals. Are you seeing the same, Matt?
Yes. Yeah, it was a selection that I made just a month and a half ago or so. I took the over 2.5 in this one. 5 of the last 6 between these two have seen over 2.5. The last match was a 2-2 thriller. You know, I think that the Fraser and Wilson ads are really nice for them. When you look at that front four now of Fraser, Wilson, St. Maximum, and Almiron, I mean, it's really, really quality, actually. It's hard to have that roll off the tongue in a sense with Newcastle because you're just so used to the boring, like dreary type of Newcastle. Let's keep it tight at the back. But not really so much here. So my only concern would be, what happens with, Fraser and Wilson? Do they get slotted right into the starting 11 here in this first match? But really, I don't understand why West Ham are this kind of favorite. I think that this is more even. But yeah, for me, it's over 2.5 goals at 2.0. I really like this play.
2.0, which is plus 100. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that they've got to find the balance. Last year, they were too negative, Newcastle. West Ham, they were just a pure, we've got to score more than you because we know we can't keep clean sheets. So I think both teams score, and I think the Alex Classic's definitely in play, but over 2.5 goals is probably the safest way to go, and that's at plus 100. That's great value. Now, if you're a side coming up for the Championship, the last place you probably want to go is to the champions, Liverpool. Liverpool on the opening day. Liverpool now minus 330. They were minus 400. The draw 550. And Leeds at plus 1,000. Leeds, tough journey, but best to get it out of the way early, Matt.
It's best to get it out of the way early, and there's no fans there at Anfield, as we've talked about. I mean, this is one of your best opportunities, really. It's a well-managed side. They've spent money. Yeah. One thing that is a concern, though, is they lost their best defensive player last year. He's at Brighton, Ben White. They really wanted to re-sign him, and it seems like Brighton just don't want to sell to competitors like that in the same kind of area in the table. They scored 21 goals in the restart in those 9 games. Liverpool, without the fans, it's a concern for me a little bit. They just weren't really the same in the restart. They went 5-2-2. For me here, the last 5 Liverpool matches saw both teams to score. I think that that's a pretty decent angle to look at here. I think that Leeds are going to be up for this one. I can see them scoring one and slotting one past Liverpool. This one looks kind of like a 2-1, 3-1 to Liverpool for me.
Well, Joseph Gomez is going Leeds to score first, but they lose 2-1. I was thinking the only value here was Liverpool to win to nil, maybe 1-0, 2-0. Listen, none of them can afford to slip up. I just think Liverpool win to nil is the way to go. They've got to make sure that they're tight at the back. And Liverpool win to nil is at -175. And I said on Twitter that a couple of days ago that I think we're going to have a plus 3,000 parlay. We'll talk about that as we go along. But Liverpool win to nil at -175 is probably, not probably, it will be in there. Now, if there's a trap this weekend, it's going to be this game. I want to come to you first, Martin. West Bromwich Albion at plus 275, the draw plus 250, Leicester plus 100. But before I do that, Martin, do you want to give me a little bit of Liverpool Leeds? Because I just bombed you straight out then.
I wasn't gonna call you up on it.
Yeah, he was. I felt it. I was like, oh, he's coming for me.
It's actually a pass for me anyway, that game.
Yeah.
I probably think that Liverpool should have enough about them to win it. They did sort of struggle for motivation in the closing weeks of last season because they'd already won the league, whereas I think they're going to be more fired up this time around. But I do think Leeds are dangerous. They're the sort of team that play really well when they've got a lot of energy. It's that real intense, high-pressing style that Marcelo Bielsa demands of them. So they always come flying out of the blocks, and then after a while they all get tired and the results suddenly start going south. So I think they'll do pretty well in the early weeks of the season. Might be a bit too much for them to actually beat Liverpool, but I just don't really see the value on the Liverpool win. So yeah, I'm gonna skip that game, and I'm now on West Brom v Leicester. I've already said on our futures show that I can't see West Brom doing much this season. They're the ultimate yo-yo team, promoted 5 times to the Premier League since 2002, relegated 4 times, don't ever really invest much in the squad when they come up. They keep things very safe, play it very cautiously so that if they do get relegated, they're not going to be in financial peril. It's pretty much going to be the same team that finished second in the Championship last term. They're decent, but they're reasonably solid. But I think they're going to get relegated. They lack quality. Whereas Leicester, horrific in the second half.
That's the one, isn't it? That's why I said trap. Because this could well be a draw. Leicester weren't scoring goals. Teams were dropping off. We know that Bilic, he can organise his sides. So what Leicester's going to turn up? Because if you don't give Vardy the room over the top, then they're just going to mess about with it in midfield, in Mendy. Honestly, I just cannot see where... I can't see them losing, but I can definitely see this being a low-scoring game.
Yeah, it could well be a ball draw for me. 0-0, 1-1, something like that. Maybe Leicester will prove me wrong and Jamie Vardy will tear them to pieces. You never know, but doesn't look attractive from a betting perspective at all. So another pass.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. And I think that this is something that we've got to say to people that are new to the Premier League, that we have a good look over the first 4 or 5 weeks, and then we are like a runaway train. You cannot stop us with any or all of your might. Matt, do you like West Brom Leicester?
I think you're right. I think it's a trap. I think the under is the best play here. Under 2.5 at only -110 here seems pretty attractive to me. Leicester have a lot to prove, like Martin touched on. I mean, they were so poor after the restart. And no Johnny Evans here in this match, so it'll be interesting to see if he goes with Wes Morgan to pair Sionku, and Ricardo Pereira is kind of in a race to be fit. And whenever he was out, they tapered off. And that's why they didn't find the top 4, because they had quality fullbacks that, then got injured, and now Chilwell's off to Chelsea. I'm a bit concerned about Leicester. I didn't really get to touch on any futures, but there is one that I like. I like Wolves to finish higher than Leicester this season. I think they're a better team all around, and I see them really being tough to beat. But in this one, I think it's under 2.5 or pass.
No, I agree. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised if Leicester go there and win 2-0, but it's not one that you can have your money on. It really isn't. Now, this is a game where you'd normally be looking at -175 to 180. It's Spurs at -125, the draw 270, and Everton at +330. Now, James Rodriguez has joined the Toffees. They need a little bit more than just James. I'm going to come to you first, Matt. I think Spurs are good things here. They are good things, and they've got a great record against Everton.
Yes. Yeah. If I was going anywhere here from a side perspective, I'd probably be on Spurs. It's a tough one. I think that, Flash, you're going to probably like Everton a little bit this season because they're bringing in these athletes in the midfield, the Decores, Allen from Napoli, and now James Rodriguez. I mean, they have their 3 midfielders right there. They're just bought. It'll be interesting to see if they start in this match. Calvert-Lewin looks pretty good up top. Richarlison. I like Everton. They were just one of those teams that I seemed to get wrong a lot last year.
Don't trust them. Don't trust them. They're like a dodgy girlfund, Matt. Honestly, she'll slip out on a Friday night and she'll run off with your best mate. She's no Everton you cannot trust.
100%. 100%. So I like what they're doing. I love Ancelotti. I think he's a fantastic manager, as we know. He's won just about everything there is out there. And it's a wait and see for them right now. Where Spurs, like we touched on last season, since Jose Mourinho took over, they were a top 4 side in the Premier League. And it went really unnoticed, because they were poor at times. And some of the quality of play with them wasn't really attractive. But for here, it's one of those, Flash, where I struggle splitting these two. I really want to see the lineups of Everton right here. I'm leaning on the fence, but I think it's draw plus 260 looks okay.
No, don't like that at all, Matt. I've gone with Spurs. Don't complicate it. In fact, I'll show you at the end. I've done a parlay, already put my money where my mouth is, and Tottenham win at home. First game of the season, bang. I've gone with that one. Now, this is another one of my favourite games. Come to you first, Matt. Brighton, plus 400. Draw, plus 300. And Chelsea, minus 150. What do you reckon, Matt?
Yes, so here for Chelsea Brighton, I think that this is another one where we just see the new athletes that they've brought in, the Timo Werners, the ZX. They've spent a heck of a lot of money. They're going to be really solid. I think Thiago Silva, you bring in a 36-year-old veteran like that who's played in just about everything and anything. It'll be interesting to see how he adjusts. To me, that Chelsea are a team to back overs with. I think that they're going to be a team to be, in that both teams to score market, because I'm not sure about Thiago Silva. I mean, he's 36. He's looking a little bit agey there now.
Although he was probably man of the match outside of Thiago Alcantara in the Champions League final.
Yeah, he was. And he was brilliant in that one. And that's where will he be able to sustain that form for an entire season? It's still a new league for the guy. I know that he's been one of the top class center halves in the world for about a decade now, but it is a new league, and it's interesting here. For me in this one, I think that both teams to score looks attractive at minus 130. I like what Brighton are doing. I like Brighton's defense. I like some of their midfield. They're an interesting side, but again, it's a pass for me. I really want to see what Lampard throws out there on match day 1.
I'm loving Chelsea. But before I go for Chelsea, Spurs, Everton, Martin, I did it on purpose because I know, being a gunner, you don't want to talk about Spurs.
Try to avoid talking about them as much as possible, really. Although I do think they can get the job done in this one. It's just really good odds on Spurs at home. I mean, I know there's not any fans there, but I bet on them earlier in the week at 1.87. They've actually drifted out to 1.91 now, which is minus 110 in US odds. That does look like a really attractive price. Like Matt, I have been very impressed with Everton's recruitment of 2 tough midfielders in Decore, who's a real athlete, and Allen. Not sure Rodriguez could thrive or could be more of the same with him, really. But yeah, I think they'll be a lot tougher this season. But yeah, I think it's too many new players to fit into the team at this early stage. And I think they'll get caught out by a Tottenham team that are more settled. Good manager in Mourinho. Kane should play. Son should play. So Bergwijn's a good striker as well. So I think they'll get the job done there. Home win for me.
Definitely. Now go on to Brighton and Chelsea. I've got Chelsea absolutely cruising this. And I'm surprised that Matt didn't go with Pulisic to score at any time.
Yeah, I do. I don't know. I think Brighton are going to be okay this season. From what I saw of them in the closing weeks of last term, Yves Bissouma looks like a really, really solid central midfielder, lots of energy. Tariq Lamptey looks like a good defender. They've got an abundance of centre-halves. Matt mentioned Ben White earlier. They've brought him back. So many good centre-halves that they've actually just sent Shane Duffy up to Celtic. They got Joel Veltman from Ajax, who's a very good player. We all know how good Lewis Dunk is, so I think they'll be terrific at the back. Adam Lallana should give them a bit more creativity going forwards. Yeah, I can see them sort of finishing comfortably above the relegation zone. Chelsea, yeah, everyone thinks Chelsea are going to challenge for the title. I'm not so sure. I'm still not convinced by Lampard. I think the jury's out on him. And it's a lot of new players to fit into the team. So in the early weeks of the season, they may struggle to gel, or he may just keep a lot of them on the bench. I can see both teams scoring in this one, because I think Chelsea will get on the score sheet, but I'm still not convinced by them at the back. Thiago Silva, a few years ago, I would have said he's the best centre-half in the world. Now at 36, coming into a physically demanding league like the Premier League, I'm not so sure. I think Brighton will put the wind up him a bit and get on the score sheet. So I'm going with both teams to score and unders. You go for both teams to score and under 5.5 goals, under 6 goals, you get even money, 2.0.
Whoa. Under how many goals?
Under 6 goals, just in case it's a 3-2 thriller.
Both teams to score and under. Can you just educate everyone in the chat and your host of where you find that?
So that was just the Bet365 bet builder. So
right, okay, yeah.
both teams to score is 1.8, and if you under 6 goals,
brilliant,
you get the way up to 2.0, which is a lot better value.
I'm going to call you the accountant this season because that is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, listen, I'm not sure whether both teams score, but I mean, I'm just going to go with Chelsea to win and under 4.5 goals. I mean, Chelsea are going to be very good going forward this year, but I think they'll lose the big games. I don't think that they're going to be anywhere near the top 2, but I think that they are going to be flat track bullies and they will score plenty of goals. So I'm happy to go with Chelsea and under 4.5 goals. I think that's around -110, maybe even 105. Now, the last game, we saved the worst till last because this could well be the 0-0 board draw, but draw at half time. Sheffield United +240, draw +210, and Wolves at +125. Matt, I'm going to come to you first because last year you made an absolute fortune off of Wolves games, draw half time.
Yes. Yeah. It was an angle that we picked up on pretty early, really, back in, I think, January, February, where it's just a lot of matches were like that. And it's very interesting. I mean, this Wolves side is very solid to me. I think that they're going to be right up where they were last season. They've added quality in the midfield. They've added a new 18-year-old striker who is, he's supposedly like a really, really top prospect. And that kind of, to me, is perfect for them because I think that Raul Jimenez might be on his way out, maybe not now, but in maybe 12 months from now. And they'll be able to groom the new striker in there. But yeah, it's a revenge match for me because Sheffield won in the 90th minute on some VAR stuff that happened in that game. And that knocked out Wolves' aspirations of top 4. So this one is interesting. I don't see Wolves getting beat. I think that Wolves, and when we talk about Everton, I think that those are two sides that are very tough to beat. I think there are a lot of draws at halftime, like we've touched on, and then they turn up in the second half when either they bring on Traore or however it really works with them. And whatever Nuno Santos does, he's a fantastic manager, and he's got this team drilled down, and they really believe in what he's telling them. For me here, yeah, I think that this one, it feels like a snoozer again. I mean, that one went clearly under 2 goals last time. The total here is 2 now. Yeah, I wouldn't back anyone off of a Wolves halftime draw here.
Yeah, I bet. Halftime, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
It's as simple as that. Martin, what about Sheffield United? What are we going to get from them this year? Because even if they take us a backward step, it's still going to be enough to keep them in, but they don't score enough goals. And also with Wolves, is Traore, is he okay now? Because I heard about the coronavirus positive test.
Not sure. I'm sure he's a strong, strapping lad, isn't he, Traore? I'm sure.
But if he's got coronavirus, I don't care how strong you are. You're not allowed to start playing. He's going to play.
Yep.
Oh no, I'm not sure he's going to play, but I think he's going to be okay long term.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. No, I think the short summer period is actually going to benefit Sheffield United in a way, because it can just feel like a continuation of last season. Haven't done a great deal of transfer business so far, and I think there'll be. Yeah, I can't see them challenging for European places again like they were, but I think they'll be a comfortable mid-table side, which would be a pretty good achievement for a club of their stature. Fancy Wolves to finish considerably ahead of Sheffield United this season, but when they go head-to-head, they were quite evenly matched. I think Sheffield United got the better of them last time out, so could be a very interesting game in terms of tactics and a bit of a chess match. Not a very interesting game for the neutrals to watch, sadly. Also think this could be a bit of a snooze fest. So I'm going for the Matt Classic. Draw half-time, 2.0. Great bet.
Yeah, plus 100 for Wolves and Sheffield United to be drawing at half-time. Now, this is why I love the chat, because I got Roshan Catwell saying Traore is already back in training. That's what we love. We love it when you can throw in a little bit of information for us to put a little bit more meat on the bone. And then I get the Chelsea fans like Harry Doherty. Ibrahim thinks I'm beating up on Chelsea. I'm not. I just think you've spent money like Brewster's Millions. I think that you haven't got good quality there. Timo Werner, yes, he'll score goals. Will he be at the top of the goal scoring charts? I'm not so sure. But I'm going with Chelsea this week. So don't beat on me. Don't hate on me. All right. Right. Okay, boys. I'm going to get the graphic up in a couple of seconds, and we're going to go through the officials. In fact, look at him. He's flying already. Okay, Freddie. Martin has gone for Arsenal and under 4.5 goals, minus 105. Southampton draw no bet at minus 118. Spurs minus 120. And Sheffield United draw half-time plus 100. Matt's gone for Southampton draw no bet, minus 118. And West Ham and Newcastle over 2.5 goals at minus 118. I thought that was plus 100 though, wasn't it, Matt?
Yes, it is plus 100. It's okay though. It's week one.
Well, that's not okay. No, it's not okay. I will be having a little word with them. Don't worry about that. Flash has gone for Arsenal and under 4.5 at minus 105. Spurs at minus 120 and Chelsea at under 4.5 at 105. And I'll just let you know that them three sides that I've actually done them in a parlay for half a unit. So on our records that we will show next week on how we've got on 1 unit per game. And obviously on my parlay, I've gone for half a unit. And I'm going to get a banker now off of the boys. Martin, of your 4 games that you've given me, what was your banker?
I'm also going for that under 6 goals bet as well. So please do add that to my record. But for me, I'm going to have to go Arsenal. I'm going to have to go for it. Arsenal and under 4.5 goals. Can't see it being a high-scoring game, but I say they get the better of Fulham in that one.
So Arsenal and under 4.5 goals is your banker. Matt?
Yeah.
All I got to say is really quickly is both teams to score in under 6 goals. It's week 1. We're back in the Premiership. It wouldn't be Martin without one of those beauties. So
that's
great. For me, it's Southampton. Draw no bet. Banker.
Excellent. And my banker, I'm going with Martin as well. I'm going with Arsenal and under 4.5 goals, even though I've stuck them in parlay, so they're all strong. But my banker is definitely going to be Arsenal to win and under 4.5 goals. And also remember, Chelsea, both teams to score and under 650,000 goals for Martin. Listen, see you again next week. Tomorrow, we will be doing the futures for Serie A and Bundesliga with Tan and Alex, the 2 comedians. They're like the 2 old men out of the Muppet Show that used to sit at the top. But also, this gives me a great opportunity. Before I say, do you like this video? Then please subscribe, press the button and ring the bell, because then we'll notify you. You never miss any content again. And if you press the link in the description, that'll take you over to the articles wrote by either Tan or Martin or Dave or Alex or anybody else on any other sport. Is if you love your NFL, which you should love your NFL because it's one of the best sports in the world. Go to sbrpicks.com/pick6. And you get 6 selections each week, up to 6 selections each week. And you can take on the likes of myself and even at Alex Classic Tips, who picks them like this. So if you can't beat him, then there is something wrong. Gentlemen, Martin, Matt, great to have you back. Great weekend of football or soccer ahead of us. Let's hope that we get off to an absolute flyer. I will be putting the records up. Everyone in the chat, have a great time. And remember, we'll be doing La Liga first weekend as well with Martin and La Liga Lowdown on Friday. So until then, you take care.
Thanks, Flash.